wake up and realize what
Hey, how you doing out there? It's your boy, it's your brother, Chris Harris, and I'm back with you again here at Open Doors. We're going to have an awesome time together discussing the topic that I have today. Before we get started, hit that subscribe button. As well as the episodes drop, they'll come right to you. All right, let's get started. The NFL draft happened not too long ago. And the story that stole the NFL draft. You know, NFL draft is a time where so many people, their families are celebrating an accomplishment, are celebrating an achievement. But all those different stories that could have been told or could have been shown, there was one story in the NFL draft that I want to talk about today, and that was Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders, Deion Primetime, you know, his son, and his drop in the NFL draft. I want to talk about it because here is a young man, a young black quarterback, you know, out of Colorado. He's projected to be a first round draft pick, not just a first round draft pick. He was projected to be a top 10, probably first round draft pick. So how do you go from being projected first round top 10 all the way to, I believe, 144th to the fifth round? So there's some things that happen. I want to talk about it. But first, I want to play this quick video.
We all didn't expect this, of course, and under no circumstance we all know this shouldn't have happened. But we understand we're on the bigger and better things. Tomorrow's the day. We're gonna be happy regardless.
So like I said, projected top 10 quarterback, first round projection, ends up in the fifth round. We've heard so many different takes on it, so many conversations on it, but I want to share my 2 cents, and I would love to hear your 2 cents on our boy Shedeur Sanders. You know, I grew up a fan of his father, Deion. You know, Deion was a bad boy. Deion from Florida State, you know, dual sports, you know, football, baseball, Atlanta Braves, Atlanta Falcons, you know, the Cowboys, 49ers, you know, Hall of Famer. Deion, even as a coach, you know, I admire Deion. As a father, I admire Deion. You know, Travis Hunter, who win the draft, Heisman Trophy winner as well. He was a father figure to him. So as a black man, from father to father, I respect Deion. As a football player, you know, like I said, as a fan, I always, you know, watch Deion and admire Deion. So big fan of Deion. And the way that he, you know, he poured into his sons and the football players as he was coaching them, you know, I always admire that. So I'm looking at this story and just, there are 2 things that can be true. Let's just start there. Now, this is my take on it. Like I said, I would love to hear your 2 cents because this story was crazy. I mean, this story was crazy, but it showed us some different things that I want us to talk about today. There are 2 things that can be true. I believe that sometimes there is a double standard, especially when it comes to black athletes. This is me, okay? This is my 2 cents as we start this. 2 things can be true. There is, in a lot of circumstances, a double standard. Because if you look at someone like Johnny Manziel, you remember Johnny Manziel when he came into the league? Johnny Manziel was this brash, you know, some may call it overly confident, some may call it cocky, some may call it arrogant, but very brash, you know, loud, you know, flashy, white quarterback. And he really didn't get the backlash. Let's look at Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, another quarterback. Some may say he's the same, brash, self-confident. Some may call it arrogant. He doesn't get the backlash. But in America, in my opinion, a lot of times when the person is black, that double standard kicks in. Point example, Angel Reese. Angel Reese, when she was with LSU, Angel Reese was competing. Angel Reese was trying to win a championship. On the basketball court, it's gamesmanship. Caitlin Clark was doing this to everybody during the NCAA tournament. Angel Reese is like, hey, it's gamesmanship. We just out having fun. We beat you for the championship. I'm going to do it too. Backlash. Angel Reese has become the villain in America ever since that day. But what did she do? What did she do? It was just gamesmanship. It was just competition. She didn't say anything bad about Caitlin Clark. But the fact that she got in her face like this, the fact that she said, unapologetically me, she wouldn't apologize, she became a villain. And it seems like in America, this is where the double standard, I say, it's like in America, they don't want the black athlete to be brash. They don't want the black athlete to be self-confident. They don't want the black athlete to be that way. They want you to be quiet. Don't say anything. In this time and day and age, I don't think Muhammad Ali would have made it, because we know Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, that was his character. Muhammad Ali gonna speak. He gonna talk it. He gonna talk it. His mouth was running all the time. He always had something to say. Muhammad Ali was like that, very brash. Some may perceive very arrogant. Some may call it self-confidence. Depends on how you view it. But that was Muhammad Ali back in the day. One of the greatest boxers of all time. But if you put Muhammad Ali in today's society with social media and with everything, I think Muhammad Ali would have been a villain, just like the others, because there is, in my opinion, a double standard when it comes to, black athletes. But be that as it may, that's why I said two things can be true. But be that as it may, when it comes to Shedeur Sanders, he messed this up. Here's a young guy, and I believe Shedeur Sanders is talented, very talented. I followed him at Colorado. I've always been a fan of his father. So he's the son. They're there in Colorado. I followed them when they were at Jackson State, University, and I always wanted them to succeed. And still today, I want them to succeed. But how can you haven't done anything. You're going into a league where you haven't accomplished anything, and you act like you're the best thing since sliced bread. You're the best thing since sliced bread. What have you done? What have you done? You barely made a bowl game at Colorado. What have you done? And that's not diminishing his career. Like I said, I'm a big fan of his father, himself, his brother Shiloh. I'm a big fan of theirs. But I'm looking at like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. You haven't done anything. And like I said, because there is a double standard in America when it comes to race, in my opinion, you know that. You know it's a double standard. So you got to be quiet, especially when you haven't done anything. You talking all this stuff. They're inviting you, different teams are inviting you in. Let's even go before that. You're not even, you're too good to do anything at the combine. You're not going to even work out at the combine, the NFL combine. And then when teams are bringing you in for individual workouts, now you're the quarterback. That's the top position, the number one position in football. The top priority is a quarterback. That's a franchise position. Teams are bringing you in and they're giving you, prep work before you come in for that meeting. You're not even prepared. And then you're dismissing it, and then you're getting an attitude about it. Come on, what are you doing? So yes, there is a double standard, in my opinion. That's just life. That's society. We know what it is. We know what it is. We're old enough. We're grown enough. We know what it is. But that's why you got to be on your game, because there is a double standard. Because there is things against you. You got to be on your game. You got to be on your game. But to come in cocky like you are the best thing since sliced bread, to come in cocky like you know every team should do whatever it takes to get you and roll out the red carpet, you haven't done anything. You haven't done anything. You didn't win the Heisman Trophy. You didn't win a national championship in college football. You know, you haven't done anything. Why they retired his jersey at Colorado? That was, I don't know why Deion and Colorado did that, because what did they do? What did they do? You haven't done anything, but you come in like with a sense of entitlement. That's what it is. You come in, and that's this generation. You come in with a sense of entitlement when you haven't done anything. Now, me personally, like I was saying, I want somebody humble as well. I believe you should be humble, because the ability that you have, and he has ability. Like I said, I follow him, I support him. He has ability, but that ability that you have is not your own. God gave you that ability. And it's not for you to be cocky and arrogant. So, miss all that. But personally, it doesn't turn me off personally, because at the end of the day, you got to play the game. You can be cocky, you can be arrogant. I'm not going to stop watching, because at the end of the day, you got to get on that field and play the game. So I wasn't as bothered by that myself, even though I know others were, even though I believe that you should be humble. You should be humble. And thank God for the ability that he gave you. And thank God for the opportunity that you have, because there are so many people who try to make it to the NFL, try to make it professionally. They don't make it. So you have this opportunity. You should be thankful and grateful for the opportunity, and not act like you're better than anybody else. But Shedeur messed this up. Shedeur messed this up because you haven't done anything, bro. You haven't done anything. And you come in here like the doors are supposed to be open. Teams are supposed to roll out the red carpet for you. You're just another number. You're just another number. I mean, this is the National Football League. These are men, professionals, who've been doing this for a long time. Who are you? Who are you? So it was just a bad look. And I blame him 40% maybe of it. 60% I have to give to his dad. Deion messed this. Deion. I give 60% to his dad. As much as I love Deion and as a big fan, Deion knew already. You knew how the NFL works. You knew how it works. The NFL is the good old boys network. The way these owners come together and this collusion that goes on in the NFL, they did it with Colin Kaepernick. There is no set of ownership that I know that sticks together like the NFL owners. In the NBA, it wouldn't happen. In the NBA, they're more liberal, if I can use that language. But the NFL, oh no, they're a little behind the times a little bit. The NFL is stuck to tradition. These owners, I mean, the good old boys, they want to make a point like this young black quarterback is not going to come here and dictate anything. And deservingly so. Like I say, you haven't earned the right to do that. He hasn't earned the right to do that. You got to earn your stripes. You can't come in, because another thing that it does, you want to come in acting all like that, you're alienating the other players. The other players who've been in this game, who put time in this game, and they're looking at you like, hey, you got to come in here, you got to prove yourself. What's the bling to us? What's the all the flash to us? You're alienating your teammates, you're alienating the other players, and the other players are now against you. That's another strike against you before you even get started. And I blame more his dad because the dad knew the game. He knows how the NFL works. He knows how these owners are. He knows the culture of the NFL. So to me, he set his son up for failure. He set his son up for failure. You're the dad also. You know there is a double standard in America when it comes to black men, when it comes to sports. You know, Deion, you know. So why would you allow your son to go down this route? It's messed up. It's messed up. You know, I'm praying for him. I'm hopeful that he can catch on. He got drafted by the Cleveland Browns. They got like 4 or 5 quarterbacks in front of him. So I don't even know what's going to happen. But I hope, even if it's not Cleveland, he will catch on somewhere and humble himself and begin to show what he can bring to the table. But the NFL didn't care. The NFL was like, we would rather take these quarterbacks who we know are no good. I was like, look at these guys they're drafting over Shedeur. These guys, these guys are not better than Shedeur. But the NFL said, we can do that. It's our league. You're just trying to get in it. It's our league. We can do what we want to do. We'll take these less talented quarterbacks over you to show you that you don't have any kind of power like that. And the dad knows how they operate. The dad knows. So I blame Deion on this. Hopefully Deion, realizes that he gave bad advice. They overplayed their hand and they'll regroup and come back and just work. At the end of the day, like I said earlier, I said, look, all that talk and all that stuff, it doesn't mean anything because you got to show it on the field. You got to show it out there. You got to produce. So you can be cocky, you can be arrogant, you can say you're the greatest cornerback, quarterback, whatever, but it's going to show on the field. So we'll wait. We'll wait on the field. But, like I said, I'm just hoping that everything will work out for him. But, he messed up. That's a lesson for us. Be humble. I don't know why he wanted to put on this persona and act like he was this and that. Just be humble. Just be thankful that you're in the league. Get in there and go to work. Get in there and grind. Get in there and show them. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. Just get in there and do your thing. But I'm praying for him. That's all I have today on this topic. I would love to get your 2 cents. Let me know what you think about this. Man, a 1st round to 5th round. That's a big drop. That's a big drop. But I would love to hear your comments. Talk to me. Before I get out of here, I want to give a shout out to the Dream Team, Blessed Dreams Production, my boy Alfred, Eyes Have Not Seen, my sister Marilyn. And until the next time another episode drops here at Open Doors, be blessed. Talk to you soon.
Don't ever take nothing for granted, man. Hey, you gotta wake up and realize that